Touching fingertips, looking in your eyes.
Kind of like everything that people don't like in all of the other pieces in one. Welcome back to part 2 of the Blogilates review series, where I go over the flops that happened for this line. I will be roasting the absolute loving Just kidding. We're not here to judge. We're here to inform. Okay, we might judge a little bit here, but for the most part, I am a seamstress who's been doing this for over 20 years, and I would rather educate you instead of just knocking down design flaws or fits. So hopefully you learn a little something from this video today. I have a lot of cool things I plan on doing with this channel. In general, part of what I'm wanting to do going forward is I'm happy to do more reviews, but the reason why this line really mattered to me and stuck out to me and was something I wanted to do is because I didn't just want to buy these things and then talk about them and then return them or resell them or donate them to a thrift store, because I am moving in a sustainability direction. So it really was a best of both worlds to buy these things to better my wardrobe and then also help educate people about the things that they can do to fix their garments if they're not loving them. Or even this series, if you really liked something in this series and you just wish it fit you better but you didn't know how, maybe this will inspire you to go look for these pieces secondhand online, see if you can buy one and try some of these tips yourself and see if it changes your mind about the fit. So let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. I actually am moving into a no-buy year myself personally because I really want to focus on what I have. I have over 30 items in my wardrobe that I would like to alter, and I'm hoping to do a series on this channel where I need to get all of those items altered before I can buy anything new, and I would like to release one video a week of me altering something. I can also show a video of things I've already altered that are in my wardrobe if you're interested in seeing that. And don't forget to check out my music over on the Somber Mercy channel. It'll be right here in the end credits. If you like that song in the intro, that was me. So I do want to touch on in part 2 here that Cassey has launched a summer line at Target, and it has some of the old favorites from what we're discussing in the video with some new colorways, as well as some new items that look really cute. So I will be mentioning some of the newer items from the summer line in this video, especially how it compares with some of the alterations I had done and when I made this video, I made it back in March, so I was kind of predicting what needed to be tweaked or what would have worked better. So just keep that in mind while you're watching this video. It's kind of a 2-for-1 if you wanted to know about how Cassey's line, the Blogilates line, is at Target, whether it was the previous one or this new one. A little non-sewing quick tip that for something like Romance Run that I have also found to be useful is, because it is kind of big in the back, you can always use the O-ring technique where you put a metal ring on the outside and then you're going to tie like a hairband and it's going to create like a cinched effect, and you don't have to sew anything that way. You can take it off at the end of the day. It's stretchy fabric. It's not going to ruin it. So the jumpsuits were considered a flop in this series, even though I beg to disagree. So we're going to go into that. The jumpsuits overall did not seem to do very well in this series. I bought 3 of them. First, I wasn't super interested in the jumpsuit, and then I touched it when I was in the store and it was so soft, then I was interested. So I got the Sweetheart jumpsuit and I really loved the fabric. I love the ultra wide legs. I love the flowiness of it. In general, as a girl who is not like a big romper jumpsuit fan, someone that has to get out of your whole outfit to go to the bathroom, I keep very few rompers and very few jumpsuits. So this one, though, because it is so easy to pull on and off, I really didn't find that it was bothering me at all to do that. This is something that I altered. I would say it was a 3 out of 10 for altering. I made an exception with some of these pieces because I know I did say if it costs more than $10, I don't want to need to alter it. But this was a little bit of an experiment, so I was making an exception for this series. And I was making an exception specifically for pieces I knew that I would keep and would want to wear continuously. So it's a 3 out of 10 because the things on this were not very extreme, Pretty much the waistband was a bit lumpy looking because the weight of the pants was pulling on the waistband, and the top is only double lined in the front, not in the back. So that, I think that added to the problem. So I was not a huge fan of the back being kind of sheer, but then again, since I live in a warmer climate, maybe that's going to be great in the warmer months. We will see. I was wearing this primarily during the cooler months here. I did like the little thumb holes. I thought they were very cute. I have no clue if this is particularly good against UV or things like that, since it is such a thin material. I don't know how much sun protection it offers. That was not something that was labeled on the tag. I would be curious because when I went to Uniqlo, it seemed like the blends there are just synthetics of some sort. This is also a synthetic blend. It is 88% modal and 12% spandex. I do have a Victoria's Secret romper that I've owned for many years that is a similar fabric mix, and with proper laundering, I have had it for 8 years and it looks fantastic. These, I did notice that after laundering this one for the first time, it looks mildly a little bit more fuzzy, but I wouldn't say it's pilling in particular. It's not the same as pilling. I've thrown these in the dryer because they do get kind of wrinkly. Just refreshing them in the dryer on very low heat seems to help. Everything's holding its shape really well. I did not see this losing its shape over the course of me wearing it. I also tried it out with a bra to see how that looked, which, wow, if I ever decide that I feel like wearing a bra that day, I think I will do that. The strap coverage was not fantastic, but that's fine. In general, I like that I can wear this without a bra, and I feel very cute, and it's very form-fitting, and it's very flattering. I got the extra small for both of these. It fit everywhere except for the waist. It was just a little bit baggy in the back and on the sides. That might not be a problem for you. For me, see, this is where it's not a design flaw. This is a personal thing that I tweaked for my size because I am a certain size, and the extra small was just a little too big on me. That happens. It's actually very common. I'm used to it. The difficulty scale of fixing these was a 3 out of 10. I pretty much put 2 darts in the back and then hand sewed that middle seam down flat so it didn't pucker around the middle. I also did take the sides in a little bit, I do believe. And the alternative thing you could do here, especially if you found that the length was a little too long for you, is that you could also cut excess fabric off the bottom and then rehem the bottom and then use that excess fabric to basically attach waist ties or make a sash to give you a more cinched fit as well. And that would also help with the weight of the legs being so heavy. There's so much extra fabric at the bottom of these pants. Like, look, it's a very nice big wide leg. You could easily cut 2 or 3 inches off the bottom, fold that in, fold the seam in so you've got so you create like a nice sash or a ribbon or waist ties. And then you could attach them either with buttons, or you could just sew them directly into the garment if you wanted. And then you could pull it back and you could have it as tight or as loose as you wanted based off of your fit. I mean, I was still able to slip into these no problem, even after I had gone and added the darts in the back. So it is a bit long on me as well, I noticed, but with shoes, it gives me just enough height that it's not dragging on the ground, because that was something I considered, was taking the excess fabric off the bottom and making waist ties. It was just a little bit more work than what I wanted to do. So what I did was the simplest fix. All right, next up is one of the biggest flops in this series. I would say it's one of the top 3. It is one of the top 3 biggest flops. So for me, with the correct alterations, I think it wouldn't be the biggest flop for me. We'll see. I got it and I do need to still alter it. I'm pretty sure I know what I would like to do with it, but that would be the Peakaboo Jumpsuit. I was pretty hesitant about getting this one actually because I was not sure if I would want to have this much jumpsuit on me. The other jumpsuits, yes, because I can get in and out of those pretty easily. This jumpsuit, I don't know. My issues with it was very baggy around the waist. What I found to be surprising, and why I say I don't think it's the biggest flop for everyone, is that on Target's website, this got a 4-star review. And I remember when the ratings were up and people were talking about it, people did like this jumpsuit. There was very little that was said that was negative. And I think that what it is it's probably a more flattering fit on someone who is a more curvy or is basically bigger than me. So it's just someone who has more that can fill this out. Maybe it works out better. But for me, it just sat like a box on my waist. Looked great on my legs. And that's kind of why I got it, was because I love the flare on the bottom And I knew I loved the flare pants, so I thought it would give me a similar silhouette. The top just really failed me. The straps were too wide and far apart. The shape of the top as it came across the bust was very boxy and strange. The waist itself also was not fitting at all. There was a lot of extra room. It was not hugging me. And for Cassey having pretty much anti-camel toe across the board in all of her pieces, and I would agree that most of it is, because this piece was pulling so much, it was not anti-camel toe. Unfortunately, it was a little too tight in the lady region, and I got the size small. I did not think it would be possible for me to squeeze into the extra small as much as the top might have fit a little bit better. I know that the legs on the extra small were too tight for the flare pants, and so putting these on, they were already tight in the thighs. It's like the right amount of tight. I wouldn't want it tighter, is what I'm saying. So how I'm going to fix the fit on this one is I'm going to put 2 darts in the front and possibly 2 in the back. I think it really will just need 2 darts in the front, and then I'm also going to move the straps in by just like probably an inch because they feel like they're falling off, and I can't move them in the back because of the low cut. I do like that this doesn't have a shelf bra. That was a pro for this, which makes things a lot easier for me in terms of getting in and out of this. I think the last design element this would be more of a design element that I would add. So the one that's for me is the darts. I don't think that's a design flaw. The one that is a design flaw is I think that it needs a ruching on the top. And I also think that, yeah, the straps need to come in. The straps needed to come in on most of the dresses across the board because there's this strange thing where it's kind of flipping forward. I do think that that would have been less happening on the pieces. One, when there's a bra pad in there, and 2, when the straps are moved in a little bit more. So I'm going to reveal if this worked at the tail end section of the video because we're just moving along through what didn't work in this series and we haven't even got to the biggest offender yet. So how much do I like the Peakaboo jumpsuit versus also how difficult will it be to fix the fit? Fixing the fit for the Peakaboo jumpsuit to me is going to be about a 4 out of 10. It's a little bit more extensive than the Sweetheart jumpsuit because I do need to move the straps in, but it's not crazy hard. I originally thought about splitting this jumpsuit into 2 pieces and actually making it into a sports bra and then making it into just a pair of leggings, but that was going to be much more difficult considering that the back is kind of like all one piece. And I just didn't want to. It was a riskier move, and I think I can make it look really cute and work for me with the alternative options. In terms of how much I love it right now, the way it is, it's not high up there. It's like, I think I love it 3 out of 10. 1 is for the color, 2 is for those flared leggings, and 3 is for the no built-in shelf bra. So those are like the main reasons why I'm like, okay, we'll see. It's definitely not up there as like a favorite. The color really saved it. I think if it had been a different color, I don't know if I even would have considered getting it. So here is how I went ahead and fixed the fit for the Peakaboo jumpsuit. Like I said before, this is not a design flaw. I don't think this is more so I know what looks good on my body and how to tailor things to fit me. So what I did was I used this fabric pen. I really like it. It works really well. And I just marked from the pocket seam all the way up to that dart seam so it makes it have a corset effect and the seam isn't as noticeable. Then I went ahead and pinned it on my body. It's okay if it looks kind of lumpy when you pin it on yourself. I do also recommend pinning it inside out. Otherwise, you'll have to flip it right side in. Afterwards, I laid it flat and I went ahead and pinned everything a little bit more flatly. So you can do that if you notice it gives you a problem. I threw it in my sewing machine and I added this cute ruching on the front of it as well to give it that sweetheart front. And then afterwards, as you can see here, I used this bra clip thing I bought years ago to create a crisscross strap back. This is great if you don't want to actually take the time to seam rip the straps. This worked really well for me. I really didn't want to cut it. Overall, I was pretty happy with this fit. It was hard to get some of these seams to look absolutely seamless. I would have had to do a more extensive alteration to do that. So I was happy with this. What do you think about this fit? Would you wear this? Let me know in the comments below. Quick update on these items. I did take them while I was visiting my sister, and when I was flying, they actually did start to rip on me in the airport. And so I did this temporary fix right here, as you can see. And later, I actually did a more permanent fix with a thread that matches, and I made sure to reinforce the stitches. So I would be careful with this one. The Ruffle Shorts, they were not a flop. They seemed to do mid in terms of like, I don't know if I really saw a lot of reviews of people talking about them, but I did want to touch on the alterations difficulty. This was a 2 out of 10, people. I added 2 lines of sewing. You know, I just sewed 2 times around the waistband and then cut the middle and added a drawstring. This was by far the easiest alteration, easiest fix. Even if you don't apply it to the Blogilates line, if you have any pants that have an oversized waistband, just do this. Try this out. In general, what this has taught me is that I'm gonna make sure all of my pants have this kind of drawstring waistband, because I don't like waistbands that tend to like flip over, like the elastic tends to flip around and like it's having a dance party in there while I'm pulling it up and down. So in general, I think I'm going to add this extra reinforced stitch on like all of the pants or skirts or whatever that have this issue where the waistband's flipping around in there. Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that before we moved on to some more of the offenders. All right, so we have some dresses that were flops. I'm gonna go from less worse to the worst, and I'll explain why and what I think was going on with these things. I'm gonna start with the ballerina dress, and I actually bought this in 2 different colors and 2 different sizes. I had some issues with the sizing here because the extra small and the small both fit me, but I liked how the fit of the extra small looked on me, but squeezing in and out of it was a little harder. So what I did was I have one that I've altered and one that I haven't. They are different sizes, so keep that in mind. But it seems to be such a small difference where they fit me so similarly. I basically wanted to have one that was altered and one that wasn't, so you could see them kind of side by side and the issues, because both the extra small and the small had this problem no matter what. All of the design issues were the same on both of them. We're talking, it's just a matter of how extreme it was. And I did see other reviewers complaining about these same fit issues. So this one is not just me. This is a design thing that's going on. Another reason why this was a flop was because it has that same skirt material as the skirt, and when some people had washed it, it started to fray on them, and they were really sad about it because I think they loved it as much as I did. I would give this a 7 out of 10 in terms of how much I do love it, but what makes it really tricky is these are very specific colors, so it's not like it's a simple black or simple white. It's a specific type of color, you know, shade of mesh that's used here, this teal color and the lavender color. So in terms of a girl being able to replace that skirt fabric, if it starts to fray on her, it's much harder. And so that makes me kind of sad, and it doesn't make the piece as durable, so it's not as appealing in that way. So yeah, that's something where I would definitely say that I hope that if she releases another line at Target, that the skirt fabric is going to be something that gets improved upon, so there's more longevity for these pieces, because they are workout pieces at the end of the day. People want to be able to run around in these things and throw them in the wash and have them hold up. So out of all the things I understand Cassey needed to cut on for a budget, that's the one area where I think a little bit more could have been added to improve upon that. This is the Game Set Match Halter dress. I did some things here to make this fit better because I wanted this one to work. So yeah, in terms of how much I love this piece as well, it's a 6 out of 10. The big saving grace is the color. I really like this color, the cream color, and I wanted more pieces in this color. So that was a big reason why I did like it. What I ended up doing also to fix this fit was I did cut open the waistband, and then I added a button, which helped me bring it in a little bit more, make it a little bit tighter. But the problem was I also wanted that there because I need to unbutton it so I can get it on. Because while it needs to be tighter when it's around my rib cage, it's too tight to get over my hips when I'm putting it on. So putting putting the button in there was useful, and I might actually do that for the lavender one as well. We will see. So that really helped the fit on this one. I like the twirlability of the skirt. I think just a little bit more fabric would have been nice. The slit on this was a little strange. It was puckering a little bit. That's just probably each one that was sewn is just sewn a little bit different. Maybe you got one that wasn't puckering like that. It wasn't a huge deal for me. I just kind of noticed it. The inner shorts inside were tight, but not that tight. For it being the small, I would think that it would have been looser, because I would say it's about as tight as the Romance Run shorts on that one, and that's an extra small. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how this one kind of had a bit of shrinkage in terms of like you needed to size up for this one. But just like all the other pieces, bra pads really seem to help the series. If that's the only thing you do to make this fit better for you, I recommend the bra pads. I also changed out the drawstring on the waist with one that was actually not a flat one, just a regular drawstring, because I personally felt it made it look a little bit less lumpy. But I don't know. In general, it was kind of tough because whether it was the flat one or the non-flat one, it just kind of looked lumpy when you pulled on the drawstring. I don't know why. So that's why it's not particularly a favorite. I do like it. I like it much better now that I've altered it. I will wear it. I'm going to enjoy it now. The big thing there is I don't think that halter was a good idea. Maybe making the halter one that was maybe more adjustable would have been good, or making it a tieable halter, or doing what I did, the crisscross back. So yeah, I want to touch on the fact that the new summer drop actually does seem to deal with some of these issues with the halter with Game Set Match. So you can see there's a top here that has a T-bar in the back. This is a great way to modify what didn't work for the Game Set Match halter top. I actually did something very similar to this when I originally tried to alter the Game Set Match halter dress. What I did though was I put a button with buttonholes at the bottom so you could adjust this, and it folded around the top. So that way I could still get in and out of the dress. For something like a halter top, this works totally fine. It's not going to be hard to get in and out of. It still ended up working better for me to do a crisscross back. You can also see that they did it here on the back of this Princess sports bra. I think that's great. What I'm kind of confused by is that the Game Set Match halter dress itself has come back and it has a 3.5-star rating. It was not something people liked before either because it ran small. It has two of the original colors from the original January drop, and then it has this new cool blue color instead of the steel blue color, which indicates to me she did take time to create a new colorway for this. So what I'm confused by is why the back is the same. There is no adjusting this back situation that didn't work out for people. So next up, we've got the hardest piece in the series, the most disliked piece, and I'm going to talk to you about how I'm going to make it into the most loved piece, I believe, in this series, if it had been just done this way. So originally, I thought maybe the Peakaboo jumpsuit was going to be the most hated, but when I saw those reviews online, people giving it a 4-star, I was a little shocked because I didn't understand that one. But this one did not get very good reviews at all, and I understand why. I tried this one on in store. I did not like it. I went back for it on clearance because I got an idea. So first I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory here about what I think was going on with this. The most hated piece is this bar romper. It kind of has the worst of the ballerina tutu dress with this mesh fabric and also the boxy fit and the rolling over hem. It's doing it right now on the, just while it's sitting here. And it's kind of weirdly oversized for this being the size small when I said that the ballerina dress fit just fine. Its one redeeming quality being this very lovely, like constructed top. The top has more going on than the ballerina one did. And I kind of realized that the top looks just like the ballerina dress that was on the Popflex website, but the bottom of the ballerina's dress in the Blogilates series looked like the Popflex one. So I'm not sure, maybe Cassey tried to split that dress into two different items is kind of what it felt like, because I had this urge, like what if I tried to merge them? And then I realized if I actually bought one of these and I bought the tutu dress, we'd still have the problem of the mesh skirt being a material that's not going to hold up well. And I'm not okay with that. Piece, in terms of how much I like it the way it is, it's like a 2 out of 10. In terms of the alteration, it's kind of like it's going to be like a 7, almost an 8 out of 10. So I'm going to go into what I'm going to do. Hopefully it will improve the wearability of this piece. And honestly, I do believe, one, I'm going to say that for the most part, wearing the bra pads saved most of the other pieces, or it definitely helped a lot of the other pieces where I did not feel like I needed to alter them or change them too much once I added the bra pads in. I put bra pads in this one, and let me tell you, they're in there right now. It did not save this one. It did not help the fit. It still is very boxy. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a box right now. The awkward length of the skirt is something people didn't like. The skirt is actually attached because, I mean, this is a romper, so it looks like a skirt, but it's just the proportions are very strange, where the top is just a little bit longer than the bottom, so the proportions don't work. The skirt material is problematic. It is boxy. It has those wide straps. It's kind of like everything that people don't like in all of the other pieces in one. What I'm going to do with this piece is, my idea is I want to add a zipper to the back. And that's because I want to improve getting in and out of this, because then I think I'm going to wear it more. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this skirt off, and I actually bought some black mesh fabric from Joann's that is better, that's not going to have those issues. And I'm actually going to do a V-cut, and I'm going to start here at the top of the waistband and have it go inward. So I'm going to cut this old waistband off and put basically a whole new skirt on this. And I'm also going to move the straps in, and I'm also going to put some darts in the back, because even after adding the zipper, I think this is going to need some darts in order to give it more of a form fit. But the good thing about putting a zipper in it is that I can add the darts and not worry about trying to slide it over my hips. And because I added the darts, now it's too tight to get on. So I think, in theory, all of this should work. It is going to be the most complicated piece in this series to alter. So stick around for that final reveal and let me know if you would wear it, if you think it's cute. Honestly, I think that if it had been designed this way, I really think it would have been a really big hit. It would have been just as popular as the ballerina skirt. So what I decided to do in order to fix this bar romper is not that far off from the Pop Flex ballerina dress. I do want to keep the cute corset detailings on the top, and I basically want to have the cute ballerina double-tiered skirt on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and also add some corseting to the sides in case I want to take it in a little bit more. And on the back here, I'm going to put that zipper down the middle. I really think that having zippers on more of these pieces would have been good for getting in and out of them. I'm also putting some measurements here on the side, which I did end up adjusting later. So if you read these measurements, if you can even read my chicken scratch, don't hold me to it. It's all part of the design phase. All right, here we have the bar romper. I've got my cute zipper, and this is the mesh material I got that is better than the one that's on the original skirt. This is not as stretchy as the original mesh, so we're going to be replacing that. Also down the front here, I'm going to be adding corseting. I'm not sure exactly what materials I want to use to do that yet, so I'm just laying it out. Now I'm going ahead and chopping off that old skirt material. I will be taking this fabric to my nearest textile recycling center, or I might use it for a future project. It makes me so sad though that it has that tendency to fray, so I'm more likely to be taking it to the textile recycling center because yeah, I just don't trust that it'll hold up over time with wash and wear. I'm going to go ahead and lay that zipper down the back, make sure everything looks good. And then I'm going to throw it in the sewing machine and sew that bad boy on. All right, next up I have my bottom fabric all cut out and I'm throwing it in the machine. I went ahead and adjusted the tension on my machine in order to make it so it would create that ruffle effect. I also do have a serger, which I use to serge the inside of the skirt, but I didn't show that in this video because it's just a lot to set up and it's not really interesting to watch. All right, look at that lovely ruffle. So then my kitty is assisting me in helping me pin the two parts of the tiered skirt together. This actually takes quite a lot of time and I'm not a super huge fan of it. Now I'm doing the darts in the back and then I am laying everything out. This was a little bit tricky. I had to figure out the best way to lay it out. I ended up flipping the skirt up because laying it the way it's supposed to be at the end didn't really work. And getting that V shape just right is also kind of tricky. So I recommend marking this with a pen instead of doing what I did, which was kind of eyeballing it. If you mark it with a silver fabric pen, that really helps. Next up, I am sewing on the corset details in the front. I have this pretty black lace trim that I used. So here is the final result. I'm super curious to hear what y'all think about this and if you would wear it as well. I love the mesh that I chose for it. It feels so durable and sturdy. I love the little details I added to it to make it my own, and this ruching, oh my gosh. The zipper down the back, just a little close up so you can see it better. And here it is on. What do you think? I felt amazing in this. The twirlability was great, and I just felt like an absolute princess. It was amazing, so satisfying to get this accomplished, and not as hard as I thought it was either. I think I will be putting zippers in my other ballerina dresses from the line. I highly recommend. So yeah, let me know what you think about this piece. The other good thing about it is pockets are still accessible, just like it was originally. In the end, I thought this was going to be about a 7 or an 8 out of 10 to alter, but it actually ended up being more like a 5, I would say. All right, everybody, so that is it for my Blogilates Target collaboration review by a seamstress. What did you think about this? Were any of the tips helpful? Did you like this different kind of take on doing a fashion review that adds more thoughtful things in for you? Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another video soon. Have a good one.